Hello and welcome to Teacher's Notes. In this short grammar presentation, we'll be looking at contractions, what they are, how to use them, and how to understand words which have been written using contractions. Well, first of all, what are contractions? Well, a contraction is one word that is made by putting two separate words together and then shortening them. In the English language, there are over 70 contractions. Most contractions are made by leaving out two letters. Like in the example here, she will becomes she'll, leaving out W-I. Some contractions are missing only one letter. I am shortens to I'm, leaving out one letter, the letter A. And finally, some are made by missing out four letters. We would is reduced to we'd. Contractions with I and am. Whenever there is a contraction with I must be capitalized. You will only use am with I in a contraction. Replace the A with an apostrophe, squeeze the words together. I am, I'm. Contractions with is. If is part of the two words that make up the contraction, you will leave out the I and replace it with a apostrophe. She's, he's, it's, that's. The one to be careful with in this list is its, because as you'll see later, its can be a contraction for something else, not just it is. Contractions with are. If are is part of the two words that make up the contraction, you'll leave out the A and replace it with an apostrophe. So the apostrophe is a symbol for a letter that is missing and also where the words are joined. But it really symbolizes there is a missing letter here. There, where, your. If will is part of the two words that make up the contraction, you will leave out the W and the I. She'll, I'll, they'll, will, he'll, you'll, it'll. Not. If not is part of the two words that make up the contraction, you'll leave out the O and replace with an apostrophe. So here you see the apostrophe doesn't go between the two words, it goes above where the O would be. Haven't, isn't, hadn't, couldn't, doesn't, don't, mustn't, wouldn't, shouldn't. The example here, which is a little bit different, is cannot. So with cannot, we also leave out the N, one N. So it's C-A-N apostrophe T. Leave out one N and one O. And will not changes to won't. So that is rather a big change, a tricky one to watch out for. Won't. Have, if have is part of the two words, then we leave out the H-A and replace that with an apostrophe. I've, they've, we've, you've. And again, the apostrophe marking the letters that are missing. Had. If had is part of the contraction, then we leave out the H and A. I'd, they'd, we'd, you'd. Okay, but it's important to remember D, this apostrophe D doesn't only stand for had, it can also stand for would. So you need to be careful not to mix up your hads and your woulds when you're trying to understand what the contraction means. If it has, we leave out the HA and we add the S. So this looks the same as is. Okay, she's, he's, it's, that's. All of these ones here, a reader might think it's a she is, but actually it's a she has. So we need to look at the contents. Okay, and the same goes for the example here. I'd, they'd, we'd, you'd. That could also mean I would, they would, we would, you would. So that's another example for you to remember. Okay? As mentioned, there are over 70 contractions in the English language. So we don't have time to go through them all, I'm afraid. But I think this will give you a good understanding of how they work. And on the page here are all the contractions that I am aware of. There may be more, but I think this is most of them. Would, verb to be, have, has, had, and will. Okay, so now it's your turn. Practice 1. Please make a note of this in your notebook and rewrite these as contractions. So instead of writing I will, you'll write I'll, I am, I'm, and so on and so forth. So I'll give you a minute to do that. Rewrite these as contractions. Okay, and if you've not finished, you can press pause on the video, and I'm going to move on to practice number 2. So hit the pause button, and here comes practice number 2 if you're ready. Okay, in this activity I'd like you to underline or circle or highlight the contraction, the words that is a contraction in the sentence, and then write the words out in full so that you're showing that you understand what that contraction stands for. So that we have 8 questions there. So write out the full form of the contraction. Okay, the answers for these you will find in the description at the bottom of this video. I do hope you found this very, very useful. Contractions are used all the time in the English language, so it's important to understand them clearly and be able to use them. If you do like the video, please click like and remember to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.